Hey guys, super pumped to join you here today. So today we're going to be diving into like one of the biggest things we want to figure out after high school once we graduate, and we're going to be talking about what kind of career should we pursue and really figuring out, okay, what career is actually right for me. And so I just want to show you exactly kind of how to figure that out. So we're going to dive in. So there's four kind of like really big things that go into figuring out if a career is right for you and kind of like what kind of job you should pursue and stuff like that. And I encourage you to make sure you listen to all the way through. Just I think the fourth one is one that we oftentimes miss or we have the least amount of clarity on, and I think it's really, really important. So here we go. So number one is we want to figure out what our skills and talents are, and that's going to help us figure out what kind of career we should pursue. And so this one might seem a little straightforward because you might have some ideas, which is awesome. Like you might know some of your skills, you might know some of your talents, and that's really, really sweet. One thing that we sometimes do is we tend to overvalue what we're good at. So just like as an example, sometimes maybe somebody told you once upon a time that you were really, really good at something, and so to this day you're like, oh man, I'm really, really great at that. Meanwhile, they told you that you were like an awesome mechanic because you just boosted their vehicle for them or something like that. Now, just because like you boosted a vehicle for somebody does not mean that you're an excellent mechanic, right? And so it's really important to make sure that what you think you're good at, the skills and talents that you think you have, are skills and talents that you actually do have. So that's number one. Number two is you need to figure out what are your passions and desires. We're going to write this in here nice and tight. So when we talk about passion, so we're talking about like what makes you excited like in your day-to-day life? When are you in your element? What are some things you do like for free without pay? What are some things you just absolutely like just love doing? So those are different like passions that you have. Now desires are similar, but they're maybe not quite as flashy as passions. So these are more things that are like kind of more foundational. So like, do you just really like desire financial stability? Do you desire a job that's not super stressful? Do you desire a job that's like has flexible hours or allows you to work from home? Those would be examples of different desires that you have. So again, first thing, figure out your skills and talents. Second thing, figure out what your passions and desires are. And then number three is, this one is financial stability. Financial stability. Now, obviously, this is really important. If you're working a career, working a job, it should be paying you the income that you need to live the lifestyle that you're wanting to live. And so on one side, yeah, it's really important. Like, let's make sure you have enough income to pay the bills, make sure that you have enough income to support the lifestyle that you want to live. But then on a slightly different side, it's crazy, like in our culture right now, like there's so many different opportunities of so many different kind of unique jobs, like all over the place. And so I'd encourage you, like, don't necessarily limit yourself to just traditional jobs. So like, there's obviously like, whatever, there's kind of like this list in our heads of like, oh yes, these are all the jobs that are like normal, and then these are all the jobs that are crazy that, or maybe just not traditional, that we maybe don't explore as much. But I encourage you, just like, it's actually totally okay to think outside the box a little bit. Like, if you see somebody else making money doing something, that shows you could probably make money doing the same thing or doing something similar. And like there totally is that room to explore and to try things. And when you can do that, it's actually a really fantastic opportunity and really fun just to be able to go and explore new areas, just so long as it's actually financially stable, which is really, really important. Now, oftentimes, that's kind of where we leave it. So we think, okay, so I got a job or I know a job that really like fits in with my skills and talents, fits in with my passions and desires, fits in with like being financially stable and stuff like that. And since we found those things, since we found a job that kind of meets those requirements, we think that we're set for life, we're ready to go. And I don't think this is quite a complete picture, which is why there's number 4 here yet. Because like how often have we seen people or heard of people making these really big like life changes all of a sudden? So maybe it's they're going to university, they had an idea like, okay, I have these skills and talents, passions, desires, and there's a job that could maybe come out of it. But then they realize partway through that, oh, it's actually not what I want to do, and they kind of leave it. Or also like you hear people like who are like later in life and they're like, oh, they're working a job, they're just not pumped with where they're at, and so then they have to make a major switch or major like haul over of their life just to change things up a little bit. And that's where number 4 comes in. It's all about figuring out who you are. I'll write that in on the side. Who you are. And so this would be like being able to answer questions really, really confidently. Questions like who am I really? What makes me me? What separates me from everyone else? What's my calling? What's my unique purpose? Why do I specifically exist? Now those are obviously really big questions, but the more clear you can get on those answers, the better, like, yeah, the more clear picture of what your career actually looks like. 'Cause this kind of provides just a really solid base for you to be able to have these things. If that makes sense. If you have any questions on this, feel free to shoot me a message and I can help you out right away. So yeah, so especially, and when you have this, it also helps to keep things fresh. It helps make sure that things don't get stale on you. So that's it. Those are the 4 things you need to figure out what kind of career you should pursue. So I hope this helped you out a bunch. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to message me. I'd love to help you out. And yeah, talk to you later.